Hey, it's the odd man. Guess where I am? The Mojave is down in Southern California and is another one of the big federal properties. It's over 60 miles across. I just drove up through the center of the park, starting at that hole in the wall information center. The weather was tough on the park this year and a lot of the roads were washed out. I guess the Mojave looks like expected. So here I am at the visitor center. This is the hole in the wall visitor center in the Mojave National Preserve. I'm eating lunch. But apparently the cows wander right through here. And just to let you know how the weather's going, there's apparently still snow in places. After looking at the maps, I'm isolated in a little southern pocket of this park, and the road to the north is closed because of a washout. There's several of those here in the park, but in order to go through the park and go to the north without going back south all the way down to the Highway 40 freeway, which is quite a long ways, you have to take the four-wheel drive road. So I guess that's fun. That's good news. So I'm going to do that. It's going to take me up to a campground. Okay, I will. Yep, that's us too. This road is 10 miles long, which would take about 2 hours. This is Wild Horse Canyon Road, and what I presume is Wild Horse Canyon. I forgot to get out the camera and film the hairy crossing that was the reason this road was closed. I didn't realize this entire road was in the bottom of the canyon. Some of it's pretty soft sand. Makes me a little nervous. I'm going to get stuck. So I was driving this Wild Horse Canyon Road and came across this windmill with a holding tank and a stock tank. So I thought I'd go down and take a closer look at it. I'm almost to the campground, but this side road runs off to those rocks up there. I was thinking maybe I'd take a stab at that first. I was afraid I was going to scratch the paint, but seems to have worked out okay. Well, this was a little longer drive than I'd expected. Story of my life, looking at maps, thinking it's short. But once I got here, it was kind of cool. I am at the Mid Hills Campground. This thing is huge. It goes up like half a mile probably off the road. There's 26 campsites. I counted 4 pit toilets, bathrooms. Funny story though, I drove out to that viewpoint by the rock because that was an optional trip, right? I didn't really need to do that. And it was lower quality road than the main road. And so, but I figured, what the heck? My backup plan is I'll just walk, because it was only a couple miles from here. I'll just walk over to the Mid Hills campground and find somebody to tow me out of my issues if that were to occur. Although the deal is, once I got here, I'm the only one in this entire campground. That backup plan would have failed miserably. I'm in Site 11. The last person that stayed here was in February 20th. As you can see, the weather here isn't very good. It's about 44 and low clouds. I'm at a high elevation. I think this campsite is like 5,600 feet. But even so, the weather isn't the greatest, obviously. Well, so far, the Mojave isn't treating me very well. It's been raining pretty hard now for an hour and a half even, maybe. It looks pretty gray all around, but it can't last more than a couple hours, you wouldn't think, would you? No cell service here, so I can't look at the radar or get any sort of weather forecast. Well, it's a little after 6 in the morning in the middle of the Mojave Desert. To add insult to injury, it started raining about half an hour after I got to camp last night, about 3:30, and rained until well after dark. The upshot of that is I spent like the last 15 hours hiding in the car. It's like, wow, that was I ate dinner in the car, I read my book in the car, I slept in the car, I organized the car, trying to stay dry. I've got all the rain gear and so forth, but even in the middle of the desert, it was just too much hassle. So anyway, it's nice that it stopped raining and we're back to normal. Especially since now I've got my coffee. Driving around last night would have been a problem. There was a lot of water running through the desert to the Zinc Road where I did the bicycle ride. Not so much today. Mighty mess. Wow. There are more thicker, bigger Joshua trees here than there were in Joshua Tree National Park. Of course, I think the hiking opportunities in Joshua Tree were better. This is what a forest fire in Joshua trees looks like. This is the beautiful town of Sema. The store is closed. I was thinking about stopping in there, but that's not happening. Just a couple hundred yards off the paved road, and what appears to be a huge intersection of roads that head off into the desert. The weather's improved quite a bit. I procrastinated long enough and drove far enough that I got out of the bad weather that was in the mountains. Okay, well, I found a thorn sticking through the tire that I think was the cause of the problem. I can't find the leak in the inner tube, and it was pretty slow, so I'm going to go ahead and put this inner tube back in and just carry a spare with me. Well, I rode a little ways down this road. It is really sandy, and I'm going to try it. Hard to say whether it's too sandy to ride or not. All right, I think I'm ready. It's a little difficult to know what to wear. The wind's blowing. It's like 50 degrees or something, maybe a little bit more. But when the sun goes behind the clouds, it's cooler. And when you exercise, it's hotter. And whatever. We'll figure it out. It is kind of fun to get to ride through all these Joshua trees. Didn't get that in Joshua Tree National Park. I can't hardly get enough of riding through the Joshua trees. I just think this is really cool. Whoops. Came to a halt in the soft sand. Need to walk a little bit. All right, I'm at exactly 6 miles in. I'm at this little intersection. It showed up on the maps. When I stopped at 5 miles, I saw this intersection. Thought, oh, that's a good destination. This is 6 miles in. That'll make it a 12-mile bike ride. That'll be enough, don't you think? This is the intersection at 7.3 miles. There's a closed gate back behind me. I think I'll go that far and then turn around. Time to go back to the car. I really enjoyed that bike ride in the Mojave National Preserve. It had sections that were fast and fun, and it had some stuff that challenged me, and I really was pleased with how much better I am in the sand. I really pushed forward with the sandy stuff, and it went pretty darn well. But most of all, I loved how many Joshua trees there were. That was pretty doggone cool. I had a good time. The trip out of the Mojave, heading up to Death Valley, was a windy, dusty son of a gun.
Bye, 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 bye.
This is the Odd Man, out.